Brad Keselowski says RFK Racing has gone from irrelevant to relevant under his watch. Let's talk about one of the most surprising storylines of the 2023 season. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Why is everyone talking about RFK Racing this week? My friend the Iceberg yesterday asked if Roush is back. Today, I read an Auto Week article by Deb Williams that included quotes from Brad Keselowski saying that Roush is relevant once again. We'll discuss if that's true or not here in just a few moments. I have a couple of shout outs and some other news to get to first. First shout out, yesterday, ironically, I visited RFK Racing, got a little behind the scenes peek at their race shop. I also swung by the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte, North Carolina, and got a private exclusive tour from Winston Kelly, the one and only, formerly of MRN broadcasting fame, now the executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Truly a once in a lifetime experience. I enjoyed the trip. I hope you all enjoyed that video as well. Click right here if you'd like to check it out. While I'm asking y'all to click on different things, we are 10 days away from Darlington. Out of the Groove on the side of the Live Fast Racing number 78 Cup Series car alongside other daily downforce content creators. We still have podcast Party Bus t-shirts available for sale as well as diecast pre-orders. You can head to dailydownforce.com/shop right now to check it all out. The t-shirts are hot off the presses, ready to ship instantly, so be sure to place your order today. Truly appreciate the support, and I can't wait to see all y'all at Darlington in less than 2 weeks. Before I react to Brad Keselowski's comments, allow me to be a fan for just a moment. The SRX announced today that Matt Kenseth is returning just for one race, Eldora. He joins a driver lineup that is stacked full of NASCAR names. Obviously, Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte, Ryan Newman, Hailie Deegan, Brad Keselowski are doing all 6 races. But then Clint Bowyer is doing 3. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick are doing 2. Denny Hamlin's doing 1. Casey Kane is doing 1. Greg Biffle, Kenny Wallace. Now add Matt Kenseth to the list. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Moving the SRX to Thursday nights was a genius decision. It's also smart of them to shadow the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. That's why Keselowski is able to do all 6. That's why Busch, Harvick, Hamlin, these active stars are willing to race in this series. It's a short flight, maybe even a drive away from where they'll be camped out for the Cup Series weekend most weeks. Thursday Night Thunder on ESPN returns July 13th. The first SRX race is Stafford. Eldora is not until August. I'll be going to the Berlin, Michigan race in August. Shoot, with this news Matt Kenseth is returning, I may have to add Eldora to my list. We'll see, but as a fan, I'm stoked. The SRX, I believe, has found its place in the modern American motorsports landscape. They are fulfilling their niche beautifully, in my opinion. I don't know why CBS was disappointed with, over 1 million viewers a night on Saturday nights. For a brand new series, man, that outpaces many Xfinity, truck, and IndyCar races. To each their own. Hopefully this SRX ESPN pairing goes well. I'm excited. But moving on, Brad Keselowski says that RFK Racing, of which he is now a co-owner of, has gone from being irrelevant to relevant these past few months. I think Brad Keselowski is 100% correct. I would even take things maybe a step further. I think you could argue, I'm not saying I'm necessarily going to make this argument, but you could argue that right now, May 4th, may the 4th be with you, 2023, RFK Racing is the best Ford team in the NASCAR Cup Series. Okay, I will make the argument. Allow me to back that up with stats. Right now, Brad Keselowski is 9th in the regular season standings. Chris Buescher is 12th. Both drivers are ahead of 3 of the 4 SHR cars. Only Kevin Harvick has them beat currently, but okay, that's not that impressive. SHR has been struggling lately. It's been well documented. Both RFK drivers are currently ahead of 2 of the 3 Penske Fords in the standings. Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher are ahead of Joey Logano, the defending series champion, in the regular season standings, at least. So that's my argument. Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher are the 3rd and 4th best Ford drivers in points. Collectively, RFK is better than Stewart-Haas and Penske right now. They are the best Ford team. Okay, I'll back down a little bit. I'm joking a little, but just a little. My point is to defend Brad Keselowski's statement. Yes, RFK is relevant once again. They've become relevant this season. And that is a huge accomplishment. Brad Keselowski, 11 races into this year, has already doubled his top 5 total from last year. Chris Buescher is on pace to have by far his best statistical Cup season ever. Both Roush cars just scored back-to-back top 10s for the first time since 2014. They don't yet have a win this season, but so far RFK Racing has been the biggest and most pleasant surprise. I want to read you a quote from Brad Keselowski. This was in that Auto Week article I mentioned earlier. I'll link that down in the description below. But Keselowski said, quote, "We've gone from kind of where we were most of last year, which I would have called the irrelevant category, to the relevant category. I want to get into the category where we're a weekly contender and we're right on the fringe of that." I agree with Keselowski. They are right on the fringe of becoming legitimate contenders week in, week out. You look this season, outside of the weird races, you know, the Clash at the Coliseum, where they both missed the show. Bristol Dirt, where they struggled. Coda, the one road course so far, they kind of struggled. Outside of the weirder races, both RFK cars have consistent top 10 speed. We saw this in the opener at Daytona. When Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher got hooked up, they looked nearly unbeatable. It took 4 Chevys, I think, lined up in the outside lane to pass them. But to be fair, we did see that from RFK last year when Buescher and Keselowski swept the duels. They then struggled for most of the 2022 season. But this year, at least so far, they have not struggled. They have carried that Daytona 500 speed to nearly every race since. I don't think Brad Keselowski gets enough credit. He's not the only one, obviously. It's a massive company. It's a huge team effort. But Brad Keselowski coming in at the start of 2022, that changed the culture. RFK hadn't had an elite driver since maybe Greg Biffle, but I think you got to go back to Matt Kenseth, who left after 2012, Carl Edwards, who left after 2014. Greg Biffle even said recently on Dale Jr.'s show that he should have left Roush. Ryan Newman had a good year for them, but he was past his prime. Brad Keselowski coming in as a driver was huge. Last year was kind of awkward. It was a new team. He was having to deal with driving less than stellar equipment for the first time ever, so he kind of struggled. But this year he looks to be back to traditional Brad Keselowski form. But as badly as Roush needed an elite driver in their camp, they also needed an owner like Brad Keselowski. You saw my video yesterday. I was at the RFK shop recently. Since Brad Keselowski's been there, they've completely renovated, upgraded their fitness and performance center. Keselowski's been a stickler for details, cleaning the halls of the shop floors, making the race team look more presentable. Presentation. It attracts sponsors, which in turn attracts money, which can then be used to be more competitive. No disrespect to the legendary Jack Roush, but Roush needed some younger, hungrier, more aggressive leadership. The RFK brand has changed dramatically in just the past couple of years. Their social media presence is a lot snappier, quippier. Big fan of that. They've rebranded the look of the 6, the look of the 17. It's a little more cohesive now. It's newer, it's fresher, it's quite literally edgier. They're cooler now. I mean, just this week they hosted F1 drivers, part of a sponsor deal, but pretty epic crossover. And speaking of crossovers, this weekend they've got Guardians of the Galaxy as a sponsor on Brad's car. Again, not all of this is Brad Keselowski, but we all started to notice these kinds of changes when Brad came in and they rebranded to RFK. So Brad Keselowski does deserve a ton of credit. Not only behind the wheel, where obviously he's still a world-class driving talent, but in the meeting rooms. Business Brad. Brand development Brad. I don't know how many buzzwords can I fit in. Brad Keselowski in a suit and tie has been just as, if not more important to RFK's rise than Brad, the fire suit Brad, the race car driver Brad. I think Brad Keselowski deserves a ton of credit. I'm excited to see where Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing goes. Obviously, I was a big fan of the team growing up when Matt Kenseth drove for them, but they looked a lot different then than they do now. I'm excited about what the future of this team holds. I'm telling y'all, from a statistical standpoint, you could argue right now they are the best Ford team in the NASCAR Cup Series. Collectively, as a unit. If they can win a couple of races before the playoffs, lead some more laps, I'm not sure it will be arguable anymore. I think Roush has a chance to emerge as the best Ford team this season. The door's wide open. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think the last 11 weeks or so have just been a fluke? Or do you think RFK is truly on the rise? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We talk NASCAR almost every single day. And thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. I will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, y'all.